Beyonce, Cowboy Carter, Act 2. Hey everybody, welcome to Booming with Bella. I am your host, bellalainez, and today we're going to talk about the long awaited Cowboy Carter Act 2 of Beyonce's Renaissance trilogy. Before we get into that, this is your reminder. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, like, subscribe, comment down below, share with your friends and family, all that good stuff. If you're listening, wherever you get your podcast, like, subscribe, follow, leave a 5-star rating to help push this out to more people, all of that good stuff. Follow me on social media at boominwithbella, and there's more links in those bios for you to find everything else Booming with Bella. That all being said, I've been teasing this episode for a very long time, and I'm so excited to finally be able to sit down and go through my thoughts with you. Now, if you want like a super educational episode, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be the one for you. And I only say that because Beyonce doesn't confirm anything. She doesn't confirm for us till like she's on tour, really, or the documentary comes out. But I don't know. There's so many theories out there circulating online about like what this song means, what the lyrics of this song mean, and I don't want to necessarily continue to spread misinformation if it's incorrect. One thing I will say is that Beyonce did her research with this album. She did a historical deep dive, and it is an educational album. But she's also notorious for like Neapolitan sandwiching things, like triple layers to lyric, production, everything. So there could be a million different meanings for one song, and I just don't want to get up here and say the wrong thing. But I will tell you what I think and just kind of like my overall interpretation, thoughts about the album. Clearly I'm wearing the hoodie if you're watching, so obviously you know I like it. But yeah, so we're just gonna dive right in because what else is there to do, you know? My history with Beyonce, just to kind of let you know just like how much this album has seriously changed my life. I have always liked Beyonce. I've never felt negatively about Beyonce or, you know, just like didn't listen to her music. Her stuff has always been in rotation. I don't know when the switch happened. It was like slightly with Black is King. I want to say when I started to become like full Beehive, I want to say I dipped my toes in with Black is King, and then I got up to my waist with Renaissance. And I'm like imagining me like trying to get into like a really cold pool for the first time. Like that's the analogy I'm creating, metaphor and analogy I'm creating in my head. And then with Cowboy Carter, I finally went under. But I think with Black is King, first obviously what stuck out to me was Brown Skin Girl. And I say obviously because it's a Grammy winning song. And then I kind of went back and Find Your Way Back is really like, I was obsessed with that song. Water I was obsessed with, My Power. And then Renaissance, that album has always been like, that album has been in rotation for the past 2 years now that it's been out. And I really did want to go to her tour. It's going to be something that I'm going to like be so upset that I missed out on for as long as I can remember it. So Beyonce, please help a girl out and put the movie on streaming. But I love it. I love Beyonce, and I loved everything before it. I Am Sasha Fierce was a big part of my, I want to say like tweenhood. I vividly remember doing Dance Dance Revolution to Crazy in Love in elementary school. Like, Beyonce has always been a part of my musical life, okay? And I didn't know how much I was gonna like Cowboy Carter. I really didn't, because I'm not a super big country fan. And I didn't know what I was expecting either. I wasn't expecting it to be like a Kelsea Ballerini album or anything like that, but I don't really know what I was expecting. I kind of had no expectations going into it, which is honestly the best way to always go into any album. But my only expectation was that I was gonna wake up, I was gonna listen to it, and that was gonna be that. I actually listened to it while running. I saw that there was leaks. I heard people talking about what features were on the album and saying like this song was so good and this song was so good and this song was so good. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to it as I go for my run. And I think my run was like just over an hour. So like the final like 3 songs I had to listen to kind of like while I was getting the rest of my day started. I remember being blown away. I vividly remember like where I was on my route to when I heard Levi's Jeans for the first time, and when I heard Post Malone on Levi's Jeans for the first time. I almost stopped in my tracks, but I remembered exactly where I was in my route, which is so funny to me. And I remember that I was nearing the end of my run when I got to Riverdance, Two Hands to Heaven, Tyrant, Sweet Honey Buckin'. And I remember being pissed because I was like, oh my god, I'm like, these are like such good songs. I could run. I had to take a brief intermission because my camera died. But we are back. So I think I was just talking about just genuinely how much I loved the album, and just everything that stood out to me was obviously the transitioning between songs, the ebb and flow, the way that you can listen to it on a perfect loop. You can listen to it and transition right into Renaissance Act 1, which is interesting because on the release of the album, she was talking about how Cowboy Carter was supposed to come first, but because of COVID and where the world was, she thought that we needed to dance more, so she released Renaissance before Cowboy Carter. And she also said it was born out of incidents that she's had her whole life, because if you've watched old interview clips and just clips of Beyonce growing up in the industry, it's just like there was a lot of she's not country enough or she's too country going on. But I think the experience that she had at the 2016 VMAs really solidified it for her, and she said that, you know, that was the main influence for this album, because if you watch her performance with the Dixie Chicks, there's very, very few people in the crowd who are welcoming to her or enjoying her performance. And I think the Dixie Chicks have like spoken about that performance in that night, and I think Beyonce has alluded to it that some people were very racist to her backstage just throughout the event, not even in just like small microaggressions or like, you know, ignoring her presence, but like being outwardly towards her, which makes sense because Cowboy Carter, it does seem like she went straight in the booth and was like, you know, so respectfully, please keep pissing her off, because if we're gonna get albums like Cowboy Carter, I'm all for it. And it does also make sense when you look at her discography, like Lemonade and Cowboy Carter, they feel like it would make sense for them to go Lemonade, Cowboy Carter, Renaissance. So, but I don't really care. All that matters to me is that both albums are here now, and I just need the physical copy of this one and I will be complete. I was having this conversation with my tia the other day, and we were just talking about Beyonce and how her music is kind of genreless. I was like, well, that's kind of the point. Like, she even said that this album isn't a country album, it's a Beyonce album. Yes, it is country, but it's a Beyonce album, and I feel like all of her albums have kind of been that way. Renaissance has been that way, Self-Titled has been that way, Lemonade is that way. Like, they're all just Beyonce albums. Beyonce is a genre at this point. So I love it, and I know I can get my parents to love it too. Alright, I'm working on my mom. Because of Coachella happening the past couple weekends, I really was just, I kept seeing clips of it on Twitter and I was like, you know, I don't think I fully appreciated this when I watched it freshman year of college. So I rewatched the Homecoming documentary and my mom was mind blown. Like, she was like, oh my god, this is so good. Like, I bet her concert last year was just like this. And I was like, it was. Like, I keep seeing clips and, you know, like, I wish I could have gone, but it was just too expensive in the New York area. I know that she would also really like Cowboy Carter. And I think my dad would too. I think he would too. I'm gonna work on him, guys. Don't worry. I've also, like, especially in the 2 weeks after this album, there was multiple nights where, like, I would vividly dream about this album. And I would wake up singing a song from the album. Like, I remember one day it was, like, Two Most Wanted. Another day it was Buckin', like the Buckin' part from Sweet Honey Buckin'. Another day it was Tyrant. Like, another day it was Two Hands to Heaven. Like, this album has fully taken over my life and I'm, like, not even that mad about it, honestly. Some general, like, fun facts. So she announced at the iHeartRadio Awards that Stevie Wonder played the harmonica on Jolene. And people on Twitter were also laughing at the fact that Jay-Z is credited in, like, the hand clapping section on Jolene. People have just been talking about Shaboozey and Tanner Adele, and I have to say personally I'm so excited for them and so happy for them, because in these past weeks we've just seen how much influence Beyonce has, because Shaboozey and Tanner Adele and even Willie Jones, like, they were in the, like, hundreds of K monthly listeners on at least just Spotify. Now they're in the millions, all three of them. Shaboozey released a bar song, Tipsy, April 18th, April 19th. That song has gone #1 on a couple charts. That's huge for him. It was his first #1. I think Willie Jones had his first #1 in the Canadian Billboard charts. Tanner Adele released her song and was already getting a lot more recognition for it than she's previously gotten. Her and the girls from Blackbird have, you know, presented at the CMT Awards, I think it was. Shaboozey's also all over Twitter just because he's being funny, but, like, people are fully invested in him now. There is this one account that I follow that was like, what's Shaboozey's hive name called? I'm tapping in. They're like, it's amazing to see just how much. I think Tanner Adele even had an interview where she said that she, you know, has been in the industry for a while, working on her craft and, you know, trying to reach the country audience, and she just, like, kind of have her breakthrough moment. She said that she's been, like, knocking, pounding, scratching on the door, and Beyonce opened it for her. And she just said, just, like, everything that's happened since Blackbird has just been amazing. And what's even better is that when it was announced that Beyonce was releasing this album, Tanner had tweeted, like, please call me, like, I would do anything to be on this album, whatever, and everyone was clowning her, like, girl, if you don't know Beyonce, you don't know that this album's been done for years already. Like, it is done. But then Beyonce called her up and she's on the album. That's another thing though, like, every artist that's been on this album has been like, I got the call in late February. Like, this album, like, literally went down to the wire. So, like, we hate on Kanye West so much for doing that, but I guess they all be doing that, so whatever. Other thoughts from Twitter, I'll do, like, what I've seen on Twitter and what I've seen on TikTok as well, just, like, kind of general discussion about the album. Some people are thinking that Act 3 is gonna come out sooner than we think. Also, people are, like, 90% sure it's gonna be rock, especially after Yaya. But the reason people think it's gonna come out sooner than we think is because she's been doing, like, photo edits where there's, like, 3 of her in one picture. So people think that she's hinting at that. I also think in general, like, that she just might do it sooner than we think, and then, like, we'll finally get all the visuals, the live albums, and, like, maybe there'll be a tour where she does 2 and 3 together or something. But it's also funny because people are, like, begging her not to go on tour right now. Everyone is like, I'm still I'm still paying off my last ticket. Also, like, a couple jokes about like other genres that Act 3 should be. Like, someone was saying it, like, it should be soca. Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it, but I know that's probably not gonna be the case. People are saying that like Act 3 should be old R&B, like she should pay homage to old R&B. Go listen to her older albums, guys. Like, I don't know what you want. I don't know. I can't spend too much time on those comments because it's not clicking. Another couple funny things. So if you know, you know. The dance, the pointing to the hips dance that went on Twitter, and I think it's kind of going viral on TikTok. It's like almost there. I'm addicted to doing it. Okay? Every time that part, your love run through me like lava, put my fit over these hips, you grip, I grind, then taste this wine. The dance where she like points to the left, takes her left hand, points to the left, points to her hip, takes her right hand, points to the right, points to her hips, and then like shakes her body and runs her hands up her body into the air. That dance has me in a chokehold, has the internet in a chokehold. It's so funny, but it's so addicting, and I think everyone just has reached that general consensus. There's also some discourse going over what should be like the official bucking dance. There's a couple different versions out there. To me, whatever makes you go absolutely feral, because that's how I feel when I listen to the bucking part. Riverdance is hands only CPR certified at 120 beats per minute, so bounce on that shit, no hands. You can say as you're giving somebody CPR. Save a life, you never know. And there's videos of people singing Daughter in the club in like Italy, like Caro mio bien. Sorry if I said that wrong. I don't speak Italian. There's videos of people like singing that in the club, and it's funny because if you listen to Daughter, it's not a song you would hear in the club, but I guess because she's singing Italian opera, they're like, yes. Which is another thing, like people have been talking about how this album is arguably her best vocally wise, sonically wise, and lyrically wise. Could be argued that this is her best vocal arrangements across all her albums. I definitely think if someone tells you that like Beyonce's not a singer, this is an album that you play. Specifically Daughter, because she sings in opera, so it's like, really? You want to say she's not a singer? She doesn't have a voice? Listen to this and let me know what you think. That criticism has to go to rest. Like, after this album, you just like can't say that. Beyonce likes to rap, don't get her wrong, she likes to rap, but she's very much a vocal artist, one that we probably won't experience again for another very, very long, maybe not for like another 20, 40 years. She's a once in a lifetime artist. And there's like a couple tweets saying how Rumi didn't want to be the only girl in the house without a Grammy, and just like how beautiful Protector is and how adorable Rumi sounds on Protector. And I just love how involved the two girls especially are with Beyonce's work and career. Like, she's really setting them up. Like, if they want to do this, go ahead. Blue Ivy is freaking hilarious. There's people have even been like putting these songs from Cowboy Carter's over clips of her dancing at the Renaissance tour and are saying like Blue's always on beat. This song isn't even playing, but she's always on beat. So kudos to them. TikTok was also talking about the Arabic scales just throughout the album in general. Like again, like I think specifically the clip that was playing was Buckin' when they were pointing out the scales in the song. There's been jokes about Julius being the one Bodyguard is about. I don't have words. I don't have words, but those are funny TikToks. So many like cool facts are being exposed. Like Dolly Parton, we all know, uses her nails as percussion. And Beyonce did that, especially in Riverdance, it was pointed out. So that is really, really cool. I mean, it sounds like I almost was onto something here myself. I just can't sing. So people were wondering like why Spaghetti is titled Spaghetti. And there was a TikTok that I saw that kind of broke down the spaghetti western film genre and how it came from Italy. And then furthermore, people in the comments were talking about like, oh, that makes sense as why on the track list it goes spaghetti then daughter. Brilliant, brilliant. And it makes sense that way. It makes sense that way. There's been this lengthy discourse over the lyrics of Tyrant and whether it's about sundown towns, whether it's Beyonce's version of Jolene, what it could be about, because people also do think that Jolene is Miss Tina Knowles' version of the original Jolene. I don't know, it's interesting. I don't necessarily know what I believe the lyrics to Tyrant to be about, which is one why I don't want to like start getting up on here and like talking about the lyrics of Tyrant, because I do think there's layers to it. She samples herself in the bridge. She samples Haunted. Beautifully done, like almost wouldn't even realize. People aren't sure, so that's one that I would need like to see the creative process behind to like be able to come on here on a platform and tell you what it's about. But I do think that there's multiple meanings infused in this song, and maybe that's why it's confusing. Initially, I did think that it was just about intimacy. I don't know. But as I started to see more of these breakdowns and these conversations, I kind of started to see what people meant about them being about, you know, sundown towns, or also a version of Jolene or Becky with a good hair situation, which by the way, Dolly Parton is hilarious on all these songs. I love that she is so weaved throughout the album. But yeah, I don't know. And then there's this account on TikTok that I'm actually going to tell you to take a look at, because if you want to know like all of the historical things that Beyonce has probably researched to create this album, he does an entire series from it, and I would tell you like what he said and everything, but then I would literally just be stealing his content, and he's a smaller creator. He deserves all of the credit for the research and the theories that he's kind of come up with and just gone through. He's at It's Ty, Keise. I'm gonna put it here too. Seriously, he is brilliant. He's opened my eyes to just so much about this album too, and I definitely think that if you want to, I also think that generally just the stuff that he's talking about we should know as Americans. It's part of our history. It's a part of the history of our country and the history of a massive part of our population. But he goes into depth and he covers it all, and he does it in an easy way to follow. I think he has like 10 parts up or so right now where he's just been talking about it. And honestly, everything that I could tell you that I've researched from just what it was like to be black in the South would be almost exactly what he said. So I would be stealing his content, and I don't want to do that. But I definitely think it's worth checking out, because he's brilliant and Beyonce is brilliant in the ways that she was able to use this history and do this research and create such a beautiful body of work, such an educational body of work, such a sonically pleasing body of work. If she doesn't win Album of the Year, I hope she never submits to the Grammys ever again. I almost hope she doesn't even this year. I hope she just kind of like is like, okay, you will never get a chance to review one of my albums again. And I do think it's important to also in this time just emphasize media literacy, because a lot of platforms, a lot of media platforms, a lot of articles will be written, and depending on the political stance, the political leniency of that media company will tell you a lot about the way that they see Cowboy Carter, the way that they review it. And I think it's important to be conscious of that, because of the obvious. Which is why I think social media is sometimes so important, because if we're just consuming all these articles that are telling us that this album is bad, we're going to believe that the album is maybe not as good as we personally think it is. And then, you know, being able to go on social media and talk about it with other people, and you see that, oh, it actually is a brilliant album. They just don't like it because it's Beyonce. You know, I don't know if I'm articulating this right. I'm trying to be like as neutral as I can, but I just think that because it's Beyonce, some reviews of this album, some professional reviews of this album are not gonna be, that there's gonna be underlying biases. Do I agree with that? No. But like even me here, you may say that I'm biased because I love Beyonce. And the only reason that I feel like I'm correct is because there have been many people, many friends of mine, like I even mentioned in the beginning, my parents, my family, that aren't Beyonce fans, and this album has made them a Beyonce fan or made them open to becoming a Beyonce fan, you know? I just think that we need to take everything with a grain of salt in general, and if you like something, like it proudly. If you don't like something, keep that to yourself. There's no need to harp on other people for the things that they like. Anyways, Cowboy Carter, man, what can I tell you? It's amazing. I have literally half the album like starred. I'll tell you right now, like, also one thing is that a lot of people will come out and be like, oh, I didn't like her rendition of Jolene, I didn't like her rendition of Blackbird. Okay, but the artist liked it because they had to approve it for it to go on the album. So her renditions of Blackbird and Jolene are just simply beautiful. I'm obsessed with them. I understand how some people may not understand the concept of them, but I will say maybe this album isn't everybody's cup of tea because music is subjective, so that's fair. But I just feel like she put in everything she possibly could to make sure that there was something for everyone on this album. To go through my favorites, even though like everything is starred, I will say that I liked American Requiem, Blackbird. That one features Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, Tiara Kennedy, and Raina Roberts. 16 Carriages has grown on me a lot. I did say that that was gonna probably happen. Protector makes me want to cry. Same with My Rose. I feel like My Rose should be longer. Texas Hold'em, good, but nothing compared to the rest of the songs. Bodyguard, Dolly P I just love because I think it's so funny the way that she sets up Jolene I love. Daughter. Spaghetti with Linda Martell and Shabuzi. That song has grown on me so much. I love it. Alligator Tears. I saw someone say like do a song per zodiac sign, and Leo was assigned Alligator Tears, and I honestly think that's fair. Just for Fun. Slow Cooker. I love Willie Jones, so I will say that I love that song. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I don't like that song because I do. I like all of them. Two Most Wanted, Beyonce, Miley Cyrus is a duo that I need like a million more songs from. And if Beyonce's next album is in fact rock, please also bring back Miley on that too. Levi's Jeans, Beyonce, Post Malone. Post Malone sounded so good on this song. Like, I don't know what it was. He sounded good. I even texted my friends because of Taylor's just new album and that he's also on. And I was like, he's just been sounding like so good lately. Like, I'm so glad that he's finally like away from like rap and, you know, the sad, super sad music, because I can't really do super sad music. Like Sad Boy Hours, I don't really do that very well. And they were saying like, you should probably listen to Austin because so good. And I was like, you know what, you're right, I shouldn't have written him off. So I'm gonna do that and let you guys know what I think. Flamenco I also really loved upon even first listen. The Linda Martell Show is so good. I love the Linda Martell Show into Ya Ya, like that little sequence is so good. Louisiana is fun. Desert Eagle. I stand with everyone on Twitter who's been demanding for the extended version. Riverdance is obviously like one of my all-time favorites on this album. I just love it so, so much. And especially the Riverdance into Hands to Heaven. Honestly, this last sequence right here, Riverdance to Hands to Heaven, Tyrant into Sweet Honey Buckin' is just chef's kiss. To Hands to Heaven, Tyrant with Dolly Parton, Sweet Honey Buckin' with Shaboozey. Love, 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 love all of those songs so, so much. And then Amen is also really good. I actually listened to that to finish off my run today. So yeah, Cowboy Carter has taken over my life. I love you, Beyonce. I love Cowboy Carter. Little horse girl Cowboy Bella has come out a little bit. And I love it. I really do. I definitely think that at the end of the year, I still will be talking about this album. Racing to the end here to beat my camera. But with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this episode on Cowboy Carter. We will talk more about it, I'm sure, as the year goes on. Please remember to like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening, please like, follow, subscribe, whatever the platform that you're listening this on requires you to do. Give us a 5-star rating. Give me a 5-star rating in order to help push this out to more people. And to make sure you're following Booming with Bella on Instagram, TikTok, follow me on Twitter at bellalainez. Spotify and Apple Music profiles have tons and tons and tons of playlists available for you. Apple Music is Isabella Lainez, Spotify is Bella Lainez, and email me at boomingwithbella with anything you want. Just no hate mail. You can send me new music there. You can send me artists you want me to check out. You can send me your thoughts, dissertations, especially about Cowboy Carter. I'm all ears and completely open to further educating myself on what this album's about. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am so glad that we got to talk about this, and I'm sure Cowboy Carter will be the topic of conversation for many, many months to come. So thank you so much. Let me know your favorites on the album, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye.